යන්න ඕක මතක යන්න දෙකල hello, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Yeah, okay. So let me share the slides. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, last Tuesday I could not conduct the lecture because my laptop was under repair. Now I was late because I formatted the whole laptop, and then the Zoom app, it was not there. I just downloaded it just now actually. Harry, okay, whatever it is, we are here once again. So today our topic is language and society. Okay, it is language and society. So one of the topics in your syllabus. Here, yeah, let me. Here, okay. We'll start reading this.
Okay, madam.
Okay, did you finish reading?
Yes, madam.
Okay, we'll see what happened. Something happened. And this is also in a new form. Okay. Language and society. Language and society are related, and language can be used to show social identity and establish social relationship. Okay, so then language and society, they are interrelated, so they cannot be separated in a way. And then language shows social identity and it establishes social relationship. Okay, so if it is not clear to you, language and culture, language and society, they are interconnected. For an example, Sinhalese language, it is equal to Sinhalese society. The Tamil language spoken by Muslims, it's equal to Muslim society. A Tamil language spoken by Tamils, that's equal to Tamil society. Okay? The study of language as it relates to social structure and context is called sociolinguistics. So just because of this, just because of the connection between language and society, there is a separate section under linguistic called sociolinguistic. Okay, is it clear? Under socio-linguistic, we pay our attention to the connection between language and society. There are different types of linguistic: applied linguistic, socio-linguistic, socio-cultural linguistic, like that. Is it clear?
Okay, madam.
Okay, now we'll go further.
Okay, madam.
Language can also influence our cultural identity and social realities. And you know, inside the society, the culture is there. Okay, culture is part of society. Okay, so language can also influence our cultural identity, socio-cultural. These two terms are going together. For example, we internalize norms and rules that help us function in our own culture. Okay, there are lots of cultural rules and they are different from culture to culture. The Sinhalese, they are having Sinhalese, the cultural norms. The Muslims, they are having cultural norms related to Muslim community and like that. Norms and rules that help us function in our own culture, but that can lead to misunderstanding when used in other cultural context. Okay, so then certain norms, some norms in particular culture may be misunderstood by other people in other culture. Okay, so cultural understanding is really important. And to understand these cultural variations, the language plays a major role. So we can't go and live in each and every culture. Okay, that's not practical. But through languages, we can be familiar with other cultures. So when you are reading Indian writing, Indian short stories, Indian novels, dramas, you are getting familiar to Indian culture. So just like that. So when you read African short stories, you are getting familiar to African culture. Okay, so the reading a short story, that is a linguistic thing. So we are reading the language. Learning a foreign language can help us understand ideas and thoughts that may be different from our own culture. Okay, so if you know many languages, that means you are getting familiar to many societies and many cultures. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, okay. Yeah.
Okay, madam.
Now can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but okay. I feel it's not visible to you. Anyhow, it is visible to you. Is that so?
Yes, ma'am. We can
Yes,
see.
madam.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Is it visible to you or not?
Yes, ma'am. We can see. It's visible.
Yes, but I can't see it on the screen with this new Zoom app. And I'm, yeah, wait 1 minute.
Yes,
If it is
madam, we
clear
can
to
see.
you, okay, okay. Social norms. What do you mean by social norms? Social norms are the unspoken rules that govern our interactions. Okay, so they are not in black and white. That means they are not printed sometimes. Social norms. So they are unspoken rules. Okay, but they are there that govern our interactions. So there are many social norms inside different societies that govern the interactions of people. Okay, if you need some examples, so then in Muslim culture, okay, there are different social norms. So as a whole, everybody in the Muslim community, they accept that they should be there. The same way in Sinhalese society, there are certain norms. So they accept they should be there. Okay, so then these things will be very strong when it comes to marriages and when it comes to other cultural activities like that. In the realm of conversation, they are the architects that shape the flow, tone, and meaning of our exchanges. These social norms help us to shape the flow, tone, and meaning of our exchanges. Exchanges in the sense, our deliveries when we talk, when we write. So we have to consider these social norms. So we can't talk or we can't write anything against social norms. But there are very radical writers and people who spoke and wrote against social norms, but still the majority, they respect these social norms. Okay, I will give you some example. And then these social norms guide conversational interactions. When we talk using a language, automatically these social norms guides us.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the kind of examples actually, just to give you an idea about how social norms. Turn taking. So what is this turn taking? Unconsciously, that means without our knowledge, we adhere to specific patterns of turn taking. So just imagine a group of people, group of friends are talking. Okay, so they take their turns. If there are 5 members in the group, they take their turn without any interference, without irritating others. The pauses, intonation, and body language signal when it's appropriate to speak or listen. Okay, so then when one is talking, so we observe the reactions of other people, and then we understand that person came to an end of his talking. Then we know it is our turn to talk. Okay, so that is something related to social norms. So when one is talking, we will not disturb that person and we will not start talking. We know the correct time for us to talk. Okay, so in a group, in a casual chat even, we know when we should talk. Is it clear to you?
Yes, madam.
And the same way, topic selection. So you just imagine morning till evening in the sense until we go to bed, how many things we are talking. So all these things, if we analyze, you can see there are different topics we talk. So then when it's very important to select the correct topic to talk. Societal norms, they dictate appropriate topics for different settings and relationships. Okay, so we should be aware of these societal norms, and then only we can select an appropriate topic for different settings and relationships. And the things we talk are going to a wedding will not be talked or spoken when we go for a funeral. So normally when we attend a funeral, we know we should not crack jokes, we should not talk about something amusing, something happy. Okay, so that is because of societal norms. And when we go for a wedding, we never talk about bad things, in the sense negative things. We never talk about death. We often avoid sensitive subjects in casual conversations and choose more neutral topics when we are talking naturally. So naturally in the sense casual talks. So we always talk neutral things, neutral topics. Okay, so for topic selection also, societal norms are important. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Now we'll go to the other slide. Okay. 3, 4, 5. You can read.
Okay, madam.
Finished. Okay. We'll see politeness and etiquette. Phrases like please, thank you, and excuse me are essential for maintaining harmonious interactions. These norms vary across culture. Okay, so there are certain terms which we used for politeness. Okay, so they differ from culture to culture. Okay, so then when we think about English culture, please, thank you, excuse me, they are very common. But when it comes to Sinhalese culture, sorry, I don't know the terms in Tamil culture, Samavin, but now we don't use those things actually. This is a multicultural society. So everybody, they use English terms. Please, thank you, excuse me. So there are certain terms to show politeness. Okay, did you understand it?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So then non-verbal cues. What is that? Okay, I forgot to tell you. Etiquette means once again, that is also close to politeness. That means good virtues, good manners like that. Okay, politeness and good manners. You can imagine like that. And then non-verbal cues, body language, facial expressions, and eye contact convey meaning and regulate conversation flow. So we communicate using words, verbal communication. But other than the words which we use, the body language, facial expressions, and eye contact, they play a major role in communication. And these body language, facial expressions, and eye contacts, they also differ from culture to culture, society to society. And then power dynamics. Social hierarchies influence conversational style. Okay, so there is a hierarchy in the society. When you are working at a particular place, there is a hierarchy. For instance, there are different expectations for conversations between friends, colleagues, or supervisors. The best example, when you talk about your friends, so you talk very casually, and no one is dominating, all are equal. So colleagues means those who are working together, and superiors. So say the way that you talk to a colleague is different from the way you talk to a boss or a superior. Okay, so understanding power dynamics, that is also important when we use a language. Okay, sometimes power dynamics, when it comes to Sri Lanka, you know, when you are talking to a politician, what respected terms you have to use. But when you go to a European country, even the president, prime ministers, they should not be used with address with respected talks simply by name. So they are cultural norms. In Asian context, it's different, but in European context, it's something else. Okay, so understanding power dynamics, that is also very important when you are using a language. Of course, the power dynamics related to your mother tongue, it's familiar to you, but when you are learning a new language, you should have a clear idea about power dynamic of that particular society. We go to the next.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Contextual appropriateness. So what is this contextual appropriateness? The setting, relationship between speakers, and cultural background influence language choice and conversational style. So that means when we understand that this is a setting where we should use English language, we talk in English language, I mean in Sri Lankan context. But when we go to a rural area, when we understand that those people cannot understand English, so we will not use English language, we will be talking in their familiar language. Okay, just like that. Okay, the setting is very important to select the conversational style. The relationship between speakers, yes, that is also some matter. So maybe when you talk to your superiors, colleagues, you may talk in English for an example. But when we talk to your close friends, you shift to your own mother tongue. And cultural background. Okay, so all these things should be considered when you are choosing a conversational style. Okay, then number 7, feedback and validation. We use verbal and non-verbal cues to show we are listening and engaged. This reinforces the speaker's message and encourages continued interactions. Okay, so then when we are listening, so we use verbal and non-verbal cues to show we are listening and engaged. Okay, sometimes we nod our head and we smile, we look at the speaker. Sometimes we say, okay, yes, that's correct, like that. That means we are giving feedback, and also it's a kind of validation to show the speaker that we are listening and we are engaged in your speech. This reinforces the speaker's message and encourage continued interaction. Okay, so that is very important when we use a language. Feedback and validation, that is also very important. Is it clear? If you did not get the point, you can tell me.
I didn't get this point, ma'am. There is feedback.
Okay, very nice, very nice. I'll explain. That means we use verbal. Verbal means we talk and we tell. And non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues like nodding our head, oluwa wananawa, hina wenawa, smiling. So then that is to show the speaker. So then here imagine you as a listener. So just imagine, so this is online, so you can't see me unless I switch on the video. So then even though I switch on the video, I can't see your faces because you have not switched on your video. But if this lecture is done in a physical mode, so when I am talking, from your faces, I can see whether you are listening or whether you engage in this lecture. Okay, so then normal in physical class, when we look at the faces of the students, we can see whether they enjoy a particular lecture or whether it is difficult for them. Did you get some idea about that now?
Yes, ma'am. Now understood.
Now understood. So it encourages continued interaction. So then it's just like a feedback to the speaker, and it develops the continued interaction. Okay, so sometimes facial expressions are very stronger than words actually. So now we'll see examples of social norms in conversation.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. So examples of social norms in conversation. Greeting and farewell rituals. They are different from culture to culture. So these vary across cultures, but they establish initial rapport. Rapport means a very positive relationship and signal the end of a conversation. So greetings in Sinhala we say Aibovan, in Tamil you say Vanakkam, like that. In English we say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, like that. Okay, so there are different greetings. So when we meet people, we greet each other. So then when we start a conversation, we greet. And then when we end a conversation also, there are certain farewell rituals. Okay, see you, goodbye, like that. Okay, there are different greetings when we initiate a conversation. At the same time, there are different farewell rituals when we end a conversation. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Then avoiding taboo topics. What are these taboo topics? Any idea? Taboo means the things that we should not talk actually. The things that we should not talk, it differs from society to society. So then things that we do not openly talk in our culture, our society, may be openly spoken in other societies. For an example, in Sri Lanka, still in this 21st century, talking about sex, it is considered as something taboo. Okay, so but can you remember once one particular book on sex education? It was supposed to introduce to the students. Then some Buddhist reverencers and some others, they were against it. Okay, but still in Sri Lankan society, openly talking about sex is considered as something taboo. But that's totally okay in Western societies. They openly talk about these things. So that is only one example for taboos. And there are certain things that we should not speak about regarding other cultures. And the cultures are different. So there are certain things other in other culture which are not accepted by people in another culture. Okay, but so when these people, when two people or when people from two different societies, cultures talk, they have to be very careful not to talk taboo topics. Which, if they talk taboo topics, that will hurt one party. Okay, certain things related to racial things, religious things, like that, there are certain taboos. For an example, in Western countries, talking about homosexuality, it's nothing actually. So if you think about countries like, there are certain countries which have legalized homosexual marriages. But still in countries like Sri Lanka, talking about homosexuality is considered as a taboo topics. Okay, what are the other examples that you can give?
Social cultures, sure, religious cultures, ma'am.
Yeah, religious things actually, yes, correct. And there are certain religious practices related to Buddhism. There are certain practices related to Islam religion. So there are certain practices related to Hinduism, Christianity. Okay, they are different. We have to accept those differences. So we have to be very careful when we talk. We have to avoid the things that will hurt the other people regarding especially religion. Okay, so these are taboo things. Hope you got some idea. So that means knowing a language, learning a new language means you have to be some sort of aware. You have to have some sort of awareness about cultural, social, taboo topics. Okay, is it okay? So for an example, so in Hinduism, the cow or the buffalo, the cow is considered as a sacred animal. Okay, but so then they will get angry if we talk bad about cows. Something similar to that. Okay. We go to the next one.
Okay, ma'am.
Hari, okay. Maintaining eye contact. It generally indicates engagement and respect, but excessive eye contact can be perceived as aggressive. Okay, so then we know we have to maintain eye contact when we talk to people. And you might have seen some people, they are very poor in maintaining eye contact. When they talk, they will look at the ceiling, the roof ceiling, or they will look down, they will look at a particular object, and they will not look at the audience. If it is at the audience, maybe particular group of people. But when you are maintaining eye contact, if it is a large audience, you have to look at, everybody should feel you are looking at them. So that is the real eye contact. But so that there is a limit for eye contact. When it is exceeding the limit, it will be a very aggressive, and the other person feel very odd. Okay, so when we talk, when we use a language, maintaining eye contact is very, very important. So then through your eye contacts, you can show that you respect that person, like that. Then respecting personal space. Cultural differences influence how close people stand during conversation. Okay, so then even though we do not pay much attention, these are also certain things related to culture and society. So when we talk, the distance actually we maintain, that is also a matter. How close people stand during conversation. Okay, so when we talk to elderly people, the respectable people, we will not go very close. But when we talk to a friend, we will embrace the person. Sometimes we will touch his body and talk. And then active listening, showing interest through verbal and non-verbal cues. We discussed this early. So if so to show active listening, we can use verbal and non-verbal cues like facial expressions. Okay, this is another area.
Okay, madam.
Yes, you might have heard of chord switching. Okay, but with that there's something new, as I think, I don't know, sometimes you might have heard accommodation. So we know what accommodation, the general idea. So then here it's something different. Accommodation and chord switching are two interrelated linguistic strategies that individuals employ to navigate diverse social contexts. Okay, so normally when we involve in conversation, when we use languages, we have diverse social context. So all the social contexts are not equal. When the people whom you associate in your working place are different from the people whom you meet when you are traveling in normal buses. Okay, so then when we go to a village level, the community is different. Okay, so we have to deal with different social context. Accommodation. The simple idea is adapting to the audience. There is a saying, be a Roman when you are in Rome. Romedi Roma Puravasek Innal. Okay, so then in Sinhala, I don't know, the same thing should be there in Tamil language also. Have you heard of this? And there are some Sinhalese students here, I know. There are some Muslim students, but I don't know whether you have heard of it. So then Vaula means back. Vaula. Anik පැත්තට එල්ලිලා ඉන්නේ කකුලින් එල්ලිලා ඉන්නේ. වවුලගේ ගෙදර ගියා නම් එල්ලිලා ඉන්න ඕන. I'm sure in Tamil also there should be some equivalents. එහෙම එකක් තියෙනවද Tamil language? English equivalence is be a Roman when you are in Rome. Okay? Accommodation refers to the process of adjusting one's communication style to match that of one's conversational partner. So when we are talking, the talking can never be done without the partner. We can talk, then people will think we are mad when we talk alone. If it is a conversation, there should be 2 persons minimum. Okay, so here accommodation, it refers to the process of adjusting one's communication style to match that of one's conversational partner. So if I am talking to a small kid, okay, that's the best example as I feel now. So if you are talking to a small kid, so you are not going to show your knowledge to the kid. So we will go to the level of the small kid and talk. Okay? So the same way, sometimes we have to alter, we have to change our communication style according to our partner, according to our listener. This can involve alterations in speech rate. So you may be a very fast speaker, but when you talk to a small child, if you talk to an average person, you will slow down your speed and vocabulary. You may be having a very rich vocabulary, but when you talk to average people, so you can't use your standard vocabulary. You have to change it, or even non-verbal cues. Okay? So we also have to change our way of communication, way of talking according to our partners. The goal is to foster connection and understanding. If we do not do so, the rapport between yourself and your partner will be very minimal, and the partner will not understand anything. Understanding will be very poor. Check whether you understand this. It has changed the slides. Yeah, okay. I was just asking you Is this term accommodation clear to you? Tell me whether it is clear to you before we go to the other slide. Is it clear? What is this message? Yes, okay, good. Now we'll go to the other slide. Okay, read these two. Convergence, divergence.
Okay, madam.
Okay, convergence, divergence. What is convergence? Convergence means moving communication style closer to the partners. This can enhance rapport and create a sense of common ground. Okay, so then when you accommodate a person, the convergence is something very positive you can do. That means you are going closer to the style of your partner. Okay, so when you do this, it will enhance the good relationship, the rapport, and it creates sense of common ground. Then you feel both of you are at the common ground, at the same ground. Convergence. Divergence means moving communication styles further apart. Sometimes when some people talk, we don't feel listening, and we are cursing sometimes that person because we can't understand anything. So that is because of divergence. The communication style further apart. This can emphasize differences and maintain identity. Okay, so there can be something positive there, but still divergence is not positive. Convergence is positive. Okay, check and tell me whether it is clear to you.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Now we will be going to a new topic, the chord switching. So it's a major one in linguistics. So I thought of allocating some more slides for that. Okay. See, chord switching.
Okay, madam.
Okay. An introduction to code switching. You all might have heard of this. Code switching is one of the phenomenon of language which occurs in societies to make the communication more effective and meaningful. Okay, so then here you can see it's something positive. If I tell you there was a time in the past, code switching was considered as something negative actually. But today, code switching is considered as something that make communication more effective and meaningful. Okay, what is this code switching? Before that, the term code switching, it was first used by Uriel Wenrich in 1953 in a book which he wrote, Language Contacts. So he is the one who coined this term code switching. Before he published this book, there was no term as code switching. Code switching might be there, but there was no term for that. Okay, now we all will understand what is code switching. Do you have any idea about code switching? Yeah, those who have learned it long time ago. You might have learned, but you can't remember. Hari, okay, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we'll see. Code switching. When two or more languages are in use in one single conversation, side by side, and express an authentic form from both of the basic languages. Okay, if you can't understand it from these words, I will tell it. So this is Oxford Dictionary. That means when we talk, we mixed two or more languages in our conversation. The code switching is very much available in speaking form, spoken form, rather than in written form. The practice of alternating between two or more languages or varieties of languages in conversation. According to the modern condition, the world has become a small village, global village. Okay, so now in this world, we can't talk without code switching actually. Okay. So did you get an idea about code switching? Okay, so I will ask a question like this. Can you talk purely in your mother tongue without using English terms? You are not using even a single word from any other language. You are purely talking in your mother tongue.
Little bit difficult, ma'am.
Yeah, actually it's difficult. So then I have told this example. I don't know whether you have heard. If you learned another subject with me somewhere else, you might have learned. So then one of my former colleague in the staff, now he's a retired lecturer, he told me one day he overheard when he was traveling in the public transportation close to a school, the bus stop, and then two women get into the bus and sat in the seat in front of him. So he assumed they could be school teachers. And then he did not purposely listen to their conversation, but he overheard. So one woman is telling the other woman, "May tablets daily gattahama body ekata harmful." So what is that language? May tablets daily gattahama body ekata harmful. So what are the words available? So what are the languages used here?
English and Sinhala.
Yeah.
Sinhala and English.
Oh, Sinhala and English. You see how many Sinhalese terms are there? May, tablets, daily, gattahama, body, ekata, harmful. 3 Sinhalese words and 4 English words. So that is how we talk today. And there are certain computer terms, oh my God, even by accident, if the language of the computer turn to our mother tongue, can you manage? So we are clueless actually. So then it might have happened to you, and it has happened to me too. So without our knowledge, the language of the laptop, it has turned to single. I don't know how to resolve this problem. So then anyhow we resolved it. We go back to English once again. Okay, so code switching. So we cannot talk purely in one language. When we talk, we use 2 or more languages together. The practice of alternating between 2 or more languages or varieties of language in conversation. So there was some that means there was a time actually people considered talking like this is very bad, and so you know these there are commentators, announcers in these radio channels. So people in the past, they were blaming them because they are not talking in pure language. That's natural. Now all those things are accepted. So language should change. If a language does not change, it will become a dead language actually. That is what happened to Pali and Sanskrit. They were dead languages today because they tried to maintain their purity. We'll go to the next one. When does this code switching occur? This is something that you already know. In linguistic, code switching occurs when a speaker alternates between 2 or more languages or language varieties in the context of a single conversation. So within a single conversation, the speaker alternates between 2 or more languages. So that is code switching. See example. Okay, so here you can see one example. The bilingual leaflet of Hong Kong. So that this was distributed in 1994, 20 years ago. 20 years more than, no, 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Okay, so then that was a bilingual leaflet. It was issued by Hong Kong Bank, which were distributed in Filipino workers in 1994. They used Tagalog and English together. Tagalog, that's a language, and English together to express their point of view. But nowadays we can see this very often, even paper advertisement, you can see both languages are used sometimes. The leaflets, here you see reasons for code switching.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so here there are some examples or reasons for code switching. Some may be familiar, some may be not. Yes, to hide fluency or memory problems in the second language. Okay, so one is to hide fluency. Fluency, you know, the speed of talking, or memory problems in the second language. So then imagine English is your second language. So when you are talking in English, sometimes you have problems of using certain words in English. You may be struggling because you can't remember the English term. On such occasions, you may be using Sinhalese term or Tamil term or your mother tongue term. Okay, that is one. Then to mark switching from informal situation to formal situation. Okay, so then the same person, the same conversation may lead to a informal situations to formal situation. You can recognize it when you use code switching, that is informal. When you go to a formal setting, informal code switching is not there. So you have to basically talk in one particular language. So when you deliver a speech at a meeting, you will not be doing code switching. So it is considered as something negative there. To change the topic and stress that by using an appropriate chord. Okay, so here the chord, it refers to language, chord switching, language switching. To change a topic and stress that by using an appropriate chord. So when you want to change a topic and stress that by using an appropriate chord. Some people, when they want to change the topic of the speech also, they do chord switching. They change the language. To exert control, especially between parents and children. Okay, sometimes just to maintain the relationship between parents and children. Influence of Western cultural. Another reason for code switching is the influence of Western culture to express someone's emotions. Yes, sometimes when we want to give priority to the emotions rather than to the language, we say that person, okay, you tell it. Even mixing words.
Okay, madam.
Yes. So then we all do code switching. So we can't say that we don't do code switching. We all do. But when this code switching is heavily occurred, as a result, there are some mixed variety of English. Franglasis, that means French plus English. Franglas, then Tex-Mex, Spanish and English. Chinglish, Chinese and English. Japlish, Japanese and English. Japanese words and English words when they are used together. Then Singlish. So in Sri Lankan context, we say Sinhala plus English, that is Singlish. But here it's a English Creole. Creole means, you know, I suppose you know, when the children are not having exposure to the mother tongue of both parents, when they are living in a new area, so the language that they form is called Creole. So we'll think like this: the both father and mother went to a foreign country. There they gave birth to a child. Sinhalese or Tamil child living in Sri Lanka. So then now parents are living in America. So they gave birth to the child when they are in America. So even though this child's language, mother tongue should be Sinhala or Tamil, in USA they don't get that opportunity. So they instead, maybe parents are using it to a particular extent, but as a result, the children will start getting a new variety of language that is called Creole. Then Spanglish, Spanish and English. Denglish, German and English. Spanglish, Bengali plus English. So there are different varieties as a result of code switching. I told you this early.
Okay, madam.
Yes. General attitude towards code switching. In past, code switching had a negative effect, but at present, the practice of code switching is increasing. I told you at the beginning, the code switching was considered as something totally negative in the past, but now it is not like that. So now there is a kind of increasing of code switching in the world.
Okay, madam.
Yes, there are different types of chord switching, tag switching. You know what tag at the end. Uh, so then we can you ask the tag question using another language. So you had a nice sleep yesterday, Ned. Apihan. So that is chord switching actual tag. She has put on weight, ne? Like that we say tag. Intraword switching, sententional switching. Sometimes the whole sentence. We talk in English, and at the same time, while we are talking, we may use one full sentence in Sinhala or Tamil. The word switching means instead of a sentence, some words. Okay. So then sententional switching. Inter means within. Intra means outside. Yeah, let's see whether they are right examples. Okay. Just read this.
Okay, madam.
Okay. The interplay between accommodation and chord switching. So what is the interrelationship, connection? You know what accommodation? Accommodation means we are changing to the pattern of our partner. So we go to the level of our partner and talk. Chord switching means when we talk, we use more than one language in the sentences or in the conversation. Accommodation and chord switching often work in tandem to facilitate effective communication. Okay, so nowadays we consider both accommodation and chord switching. They are facilitative factor in effective communication. So they are used to facilitate effective communication. For example, a bilingual individual might converge their speech style towards their interlocutor while also chord switching to emphasize certain points or connect with the other person on a deeper level. The language is very tough, but idea is very simple. Bilingual individual. Bilingual means just like us, we know two languages. You Muslim people may know more than 2, 3, but majority we know two languages. And we might convert their, they might convert their speech style towards their interlocutor, that means partner, while also chord switching to emphasize certain points. Okay, so then they will go to the level of their partner, that means accommodation, and also code switching to emphasize certain points. At the same time, they will code switch to emphasize certain points or connect with the other person on a deeper level. Sometimes code switching is unavoidable because there are certain terms we don't have English equivalent. For an example, sweets items that we prepare at our home level. Sinhala Hindu New Year, we prepare asmi, mungkaung, kaung, cookies. So there are no English terms because in foreign countries, in England, they don't prepare these food varieties. And there are lots of Tamil terms which are not there in English language. Okay, so code switching is a must. It's not something negative. Is this clear?
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Okay, madam.
Okay, here there are some examples for accommodation and code switching. A job applicant adjusting their speech to match the formal style of an interview. Okay, so then applicant, when he or she is outside the interview context, when they are with friends, they are very jovial, they are talking very casually like that. But the same person, when he goes to face an interview, he will switch to formal style. At an interview, we can't crack jokes, we can't give vague answers, we have to be very formal. Yeah, so that is some examples for accommodation. So we have to adjust our way of talking, communication style to the situation. And then a teenager switching between standard English and slang depending on the context. Yes, a teenager, very young person, young girl or a boy, can switch between standard English and slang. Slang means a very casual way language which is used among friends. Only the people in the gang can understand what they are talking sometimes. You may be having plenty of examples. So then other people, they cannot understand what you are talking. And then friends in one click, they are having slangs. For an example, I can give plenty of examples in Sinhala, but I don't know whether you can understand. That is the problem. For an example, there are Sinhala students. අපි කිව්වොත් එහෙම අම්බානකට කෑවා. What does it mean? මිනිහා ඊයේ අම්බානකට කෑවා කාගෙන් හරි. අපි එහෙම කිව්වොත්. So what is the meaning? Is it referring to a meal, food variety?
No, madam.
හොඳටම ගුටි කෑවා කියන එකනේ. So that is some kind of slang language. So there are English terms also which we used as slangs. Okay, a salesperson adopting the dialect of their customers to build rapport. A salesperson. Okay, so then they are very trickily, they adjust to the language of the customer, the level of the customer. Now we are moving to another rule. So up to now we were talking about accommodation and code switching. Do you have any questions there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then cultural bias.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, cultural biases. Cultural bias is the tendency to interpret information through the lens of one's own cultural framework, often leading to misunderstanding, stereotypes, and prejudice. Okay? It's a kind of tendency to interpret information through the lens of one's own cultural framework. Okay, so there are some people who interpret information wearing cultural glasses, lens of one's own cultural framework. And this leads to misunderstanding, stereotypes, that means very traditional, and prejudice, things which will go towards downfall. It's crucial to recognize and challenge these biases to foster intercultural understanding and respect. Okay, so now here you can't understand. When you see the examples, you will understand it properly. Okay, we have to avoid cultural biases for better communication. Examples of cultural bias in relation to specific identities. Just have an idea. Okay, did you finish reading?
Yes, madam.
Okay, racial bias. Stereotyping, assuming certain characteristic based on race. Okay, that may be based on a very particular race or maybe as a continent like Asia. For example, all Asians are good at maths. Okay, that is a cultural bias idea. Okay, so Asians are good at maths. Prejudice holding negative attitudes towards individuals based on their race. Okay, sometimes we have some negative attitudes towards particular group of people which belongs to different race. And discrimination, unfair treatment of individuals based on their race. And even though we do not accept these things are there in society. Yes, there are here all Asians are good at mathematics. That we feel it's something positive because that is about something good about us. Okay, but there are lots of stereotyping like that. If you can come out with some examples, you can share it here. What the next one? Gender biases are there.
Okay, madam.
Okay. So gender bias. So earlier it was racial bias. The racial bias, yes, gender bias. Stereotyping, assigning specific roles or traits to genders. Women are emotional, men are strong. So that is a typical stereotype idea in our culture, in our society. But not only women, men are also emotional. Sometimes when they are reluctant to show their emotions, because our culture and society accept that men should not show their emotions. Okay, so then when kids are small, I mean when boys and girls are very small, equally they cry. So in primary grades, in preschools, you might have seen boys are crying louder than girls. But when they grow bigger, when they grow old, they get the notion that they should not cry, they should not show their tears. It's something which will damage their image like that. Other than that, all men and women, they have emotions. And men are strong, so that is a common acceptance, but there are women who are very stronger sometimes than men. Holding negative attitudes towards a specific gender. And the gender discrimination, that's it, they are everywhere. If I give you some example, gender discrimination, you just think about your language and you know English both. Most of the filthy words, they target or they discriminate women. And now think for a while, all the filthy words in your mother tongue, are they not based on women? I can't read out filthy words in this online platform. So then for an example, son of dog in English, son of bitch. Okay, so bitch, female animal, not dog. And when you think of like that, you can have plenty of examples which discriminate women. unequal treatment based on gender. Okay, so that is also there. Is this clear, gender biases? Or are you still thinking about filthy words?
Understood, ma'am.
Understood. Okay. Ageism.
Okay, ma'am.
Sorry, okay. Ageism. So it's a, sorry, yeah, it's a familiar, meaning is familiar. Sometimes you may be new to the term ageism. That means age. Uh, Stereotyping, assuming certain abilities or limitations based on age. And older people are slow learners. That's something related to ageism. And can you remember we did critical period hypothesis? So that is also something related to ageism. That means there is a particular period, particular age that learners can learn a language very easily, something like up to 14 years old. So these are stereotyping under ageism. Then prejudice, holding negative attitude towards a particular age group. Holding negative attitude towards a particular age group. So that is also due to ageism. We know these teenagers. So we have some negative attitudes towards them. Elderly people. And then discrimination, unfair treatment based on age. So that is also there. And then religious bias, stereotyping, making generalizations about individual based on their religion, then holding on religious belief. There are lots of things related to religion.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Ability bias. stereotyping under that, assuming limitations for individuals with disabilities and physical disability. We use it to decide the abilities of certain people, but which is not correct with disabilities. Okay, sometimes those who are having disabilities, they may be having lots of abilities than a normal person. Prejudice, holding negative attitudes towards people with disabilities. Discrimination, denying opportunities or accommodations to individuals with disabilities. So now actually the disabled people are highly recognized, unlike in the past. And you know, there are some rules when we are constructing buildings, there should be a way for wheelchairs, for an example. If it is not there, it is a problem, because there are disabled persons who need to access the place, so there should be separate path for wheelchairs, like that. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Hi. It's important to note that these are just a few examples, but you can have your own examples. And cultural bias can manifest in countless ways. Okay, so there are different ways that cultural bias is available. Recognizing and addressing these biases is crucial for creating a more inclusive and equitable society. Okay, so we should minimize these cultural biases as much as possible. Then only we can have a very equitable society and inclusive one. Okay, so that is the end of this lesson. We'll go to the beginning and we'll simply discuss what we were talking today. Okay, today our topic, it was language and society. Yes, so then I told you there is a particular field of linguistics as socio-linguistic, which talks about language and society. And then we talk about social norms. Then how social norms guide conversational interactions we discuss in detail. So because of social norms, without our knowledge, we know how, when to turn, or when is our chance for turn talking. Then topic selection, politeness and etiquette, nonverbal cues, power dynamic, contextual appropriateness, feedback and evaluation. And then we discuss about social norms in conversation, greeting, avoiding taboo topics, maintaining eye contact, respecting personal space, active listening, like that we discuss. And then we came to the topic accommodation and code switching. And accommodation we discuss. That means we have to sometimes change the communication style so that it should match the conversational style of the partner. And then code switching we discuss in detail. And then the interrelationship between accommodation and code switching we discuss. And finally, we came to the topic cultural biases. racial biases are there, gender biases are there, ageism and religious biases, ability biases. There are 5 types of biases available in language use. Okay, now it's your time to ask questions.
Oh, I can. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah,
Can you take back to the gender biases, ma'am?
sure, sure. I will go there. Let me go to the place. Gender biases. Okay.
Ma'am, for that gender biases example,
Ah,
we can take the example from our house or from our own family also, no, ma'am?
yeah, why not? Why not?
The example is the mother will show some extra care for the son, and she will show some less care for the daughter by giving food like that things, no, ma'am?
Yeah, that is also there. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so that is there. Yeah, mothers, they want to feed their boys more, but according to medical research, it has been proven that the girl should be given nutritious diet the more than a boy, because one day the girl will be a mother, the pregnant. So then uh, she should be a physically strong person like that. But what you told is correct. Gender biases, that is there.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. What else?
One last doubt, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Why not? You ask. I like if you ask questions.
Okay, can ma'am, the what is that accommodation, ma'am? Can you simply say?
Okay. Sure. Sure. Accommodation. Yeah, we'll go to the place. And okay, this is accommodate. When we take it as a verb, accommodate. So then, if a guest comes to your house, you will accommodate. If the person is known to you, you will allow that person to stay at your house per day. But if the person is unknown, you will not accommodate him or her at your place. Okay, so that is the general idea of accommodation. But here the accommodation refers to the process of adjusting one's communication style to match that of one's conversational partner. So just imagine you are talking with another person, and your social, cultural background, the financial status, they are not same. So there is a difference between you and your partner in speaking. Sometimes when we talk, we will change our way of communication to the level of our partner. Okay, so then you may be a highly qualified person. Okay, so you are a highly qualified person, but when you go to a shop by the side of the road, තේ කඩේකට ගියා කියලා බදුළු බණ්ඩාර වෙල යන ගමන් තේ කඩේකට යනවා. But you are a highly qualified person, you are having your master's degree, PhD, everything. But when you go to that kade by the side of the road, okay, so you are not going to talk the theories that you learned. So you will adjust your way of talking to the communication style of the poor person at that shop, and then you will talk. So that is a kind of accommodation. When you talk to a small baby, your education, your qualification does not matter. So you have to go to the level of the small kid and talk. Did you get an idea about accommodation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Understood. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other doubt? Okay, if you do not have doubt, we can wind up the session. Next week also, I doubt whether I will be able to conduct lectures on Tuesday. I have another work. So if so, we will switch on to Friday as usual, just like this week. It's not 100% sure. Okay, shall we wind up the session for today then?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then have a nice day. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Okay, good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.